Hello techies, I'm Divya here. On behalf of CyberBrainer, don't you think the world of tech is evolving faster than ever? Now is the perfect time to dive in and build the skills that will take you places. With CyberBrainer, we are putting you in the driver's seat of your own future. We at CyberBrainer don't just teach your interest. We believe that knowledge is power, but it's applied knowledge that truly sets you apart. Whether you're diving into data science, mastering artificial intelligence, or exploring the world of cybersecurity, our courses are designed to give you the skills that matter. So let's jump into the session and make the future yours today. Thank you.
We talked a little bit about object-oriented technology here. The person is a primary object. The position and the phone number and address are related objects to the person. And the work location and job definition are related objects to the position. And all these position relationships are stitched together by Workday. And I was talking about this chart where you and I are users here which access through the web browser, for example. For example, this is the tenant access or interface for Workday. When you log it into Workday, this is your home screen. This access is called the user access. You can use it from your browser. Any of the browsers is a wide support of browser types. It basically uses XL as a baseline and uses the Flex and Flash technology to maintain the interface. All the users connect via the internet to the UI server. UI server is the entry point for all end users. It does the authentication. It does the access management. It has all the permissions for what the user can and can do within the Workday environment for that particular customer. All the data services comes through or the systems access through the data services again via the internet in XML or files format which lands into the integration server within the Workday environment, which is the entry point for all the data requests. And it has a very wide variety of transformation capabilities into what kind of data you want to send and receive from Workday. The OMS is a processing engine and the persistent store captures all the changes that are happening within your OMS. All the user changes, all the transactions, everything is backed up into the persistent store. And it contains, in addition to the backups, it also contains your audit files and certain documents, such as resumes. In the early releases, even these files were kept in OMS and persistent store was just used for backup. Any questions, Far? Four main components: the UI server, the OMS engine, the integration server, and the persistent store. For all the integrations, Workday uses SOAP. Say based on XML and XLT for transformation and data sync. This is how the SOAP envelope is set up. The SOAP has the envelope, the header, and the body under E for each message. We use XML and XLT. XML is the extensive market language which is used by default in Workday for all the transaction data when doing integrations. XSLT is used to transform the XML file into any object that you would like it to be changed, such as PDF, PostScripts, PNG. Or if you need to do any calculations, validations, if you want to build any logic on top of the XML data that you have received and need to do some processing on it, then XLT is used for that. Integration is a software interface that bridges between the master enterprise data and all the source systems. In this case, I would consider the master enterprise data as Workday. Say this is Workday, then this is the OMS, this is your integration server, and your integration server can talk to all your external applications. Some examples could be your Active Directory, your single sign-on, such as Okta or CyberArk, or even Azure. For your single sign-on, then you can have your financial applications, such as AP or any other applications. You can have your benefits. You can have your payroll time off. You can have integration, such as your check-in, check-out for employees when they come into the office, or if you want to maintain a security log and on. Any of the data that you would like either to be inbound to Workday or outbound of Workday can be done via the data integration with Workday. Every integration would have a source. It needs, if any, a transformation, then it needs to go to a targeted system. The source could interchangeably be either Workday or your external systems. Data could be coming into Workday or data could be going out of Workday, depending on the direction. We always consider the direction with Workday as a starting point. Data going out of Workday or the data coming into Workday. Anything that's coming into Workday is called an inbound integration. Anything that's going out of Workday is called an outbound integration. We've already looked at it. Inbound data is fed into Workday. Incoming data is transformed into Workday Web Services compliant format. Outbound is data is provided by Workday and data is outgoing to be transformed into any other format that they need. Some examples here. Your inbound could be from an external system. It could be coming in from an FTP or SFTP, or it could be coming from a REST format. Coming in via the integration, transforming into web services, and then the web services for each major object area or functional area will put the data into the relevant objects. Again, outbound, the data is sourced from Workday from those objects using the web services interface. The outbound integration and external systems could be one or many of these. Workday Integration Architecture. Workday Enterprise does. Integration platform and service allows all integrations to deploy to and run into Workday Cloud without on-premise middleware. You don't need to get any additional hardware or software in addition to Workday to run your integrations. There are three types. First is the Cloud Connect. Second is the custom integration tools to create integration systems such as EIB, Workday Studio Docs. And then if you have a middleware that you would like to use, you can use that as well. The integration cloud looks something like this. On the Workday Cloud, on the top you'll see the layer for Workday application, which is managed by public web services APIs and custom APIs. And the integration cloud platforms and connectors, and core connector packages, management and monitoring. You can have cloud applications, on-premise applications. You can have benefit provider, PA provider, LDA, PAD for your user sync or your authentication or user updates and on. But it's not limited to this. When you talk about integrations, if we consider this site as Workday, from Workday, one can use public web services, custom reports, core connectors. You can do the transformation on on-premise middleware if you have any. You can do EIBs or you can use a Workday Studio application that is provided by Workday, which is available on the community. And then the data can be transferred to your target system. Alright, I think before we jump into more details, let me show you a few examples. These are all the support for Logan Metil, and I'm looking for the type of supervisory. Within the supervisory organization, you would have positions, and on those positions, you can hire a candidate or person. Let's see. This is Lottie Baker's organization. Logan is part of this. I want to hire someone, say, in this supervisory organization. Let's look at the staffing options. Do we have any positions available? Let's say Senior HR representative. I want to hire on this position. Let's say if I want to hire one person, I can do it like this. Say hire employees. If I already have a pre-hire available, I'll do that. Otherwise, I can say create pre-hire. Let's say source is going to be LinkedIn. Let's say Clifford by say Steve. Say they're going to hire your rabbit. Do we need a phone number for this person? Let's say. Mobile, we need an email address for this person. We had an email. I just created a pre-hire for this position that was available under Logan's boss or Logan's peer. We had a pre-hire ID here. Let's say the start date for this person is going to be, say, 1st of March, which was yesterday. Hire reason new hire new position. Say, employee type for the current country is going to be regular. Job profile. Time tab is going to be full time. Location, let's say, pay rate type hourly or salary. I'm not interested in the workspace right now. Let's say. Let's select hourly for this person. His work shift is going to be 40 hours a week. Schedule week here is 40. FTE percentage is this. And do I have any work shifts? I don't have any additional information. Job title, business title, additional classification. Not any company insider type. A first day of work, continuous service date, benefits, service date. Let's say it's going to be. This person already has benefits from his previous employer, 2023 Zora Pfizer D1. That's when his benefits from this company should kick in. And if I have any attachments, I can attach it here. Let's submit. And now I've initiated the hire process. It's not complete as yet. Next step is going to be, say, propose compensation, hire. And there's a reason why I'm taking you through all this process, and I'll come to it as soon as we finish this. You have the effective date, your total base pay, which is currently empty, compensation basis hourly. Now we need to select the composition package. Let's select composition package. Let's say the grade. Let's say team member. If there's a need for great profile, we can select that. Otherwise, no need. And then the hourly rate. We need to set up the hourly salary for this person. Compensation plan. Say hourly plan 2. Amount, let's say it's going to be $65 an hour. And frequencies should be hourly because it's an hourly pay rate. And if I have any other period salary, unit salary, any allowances, such as, say, car allowance. The internal allowance came here. And if I have any commissions or anything else, I can add it here. Let's say, go ahead and submit. Let us look at the process. It says it has been successfully completed. And the person details employee ID has been assigned. If I now look at Roger Rabbit, we can see that this person is hired on load 103 to 43. One day, length of service, the position that we hired in our staff representative, his business title, his location, his job, family. He's part of Lottie Baker's organization. Lottie Baker is the manager for this person, as we can see here. And the employee ID for this worker is here. If you go to the compensation part, you can see that the frequency is annual. Well, this came out incorrectly. It should be hourly the frequency. The hourly plan was 65 an hour. And the allowance plan is the internal allowance for 55 a month. The compensation package greatest team member, great profile, total base pay range and on. You had to fill all this information in order to hire an employee. Let's now see. If you have to do it in Book via an integration, how would we be able to do that? What I can do is I can either use an existing EIB or I can create one. Let's go ahead and create one for the session. Create EIB is going to be the task. I'm going to select inbound because I'm going to put the data into Workday when I'm hiring people. The general settings. I'll go to next. Now I have a couple of options when I create the EIB. I can pull the file from an SFTP. I can pull a file for Google Drive or STURL's FTP, or I can do attach file at launch, or I can pick it up from Amazon Simple Store service. Currently, I'm going to select attach file at launch because I'm going to manually fill up the file. Any other details, if I want to restrict it to a tenant type, such as production, sandbox, testing, training. If I have any other tenants, I can say restrict this EIB, that it should only work on those type of tenants only. Currently, I'm not going to apply any restrictions. The data file format is going to be Workday Web Services template, and which operation I'm trying to run with this EIB. I'll say hire. Hire employee web services, correct hire, import hire, put hire, even proposed, and a couple of options. We are going to select the hire employee web service. Because we are using the Workday Web Services format, the template model is going to be the same as a hire employee. We cannot change it because this is a Workday. Delivered web service. No transformation required here. Again, Workday Web Service operation. When we run this EIB, it will use the Workday Web Service operation to put the data for that particular hire in the relevant objects. That will give us a summary of what we have, like the ID of our integration, the data sources, file attachment, the transformation, web services, and the delivery method. Let's go ahead and press. And now we have created our EIB, the interface to load data into Workday with a file attachment. Here you can see the integration system. Endpoint is Workday Web Services, delivery method is Web Service Operation, transformation is Hire Employee, and the type is Web Service Template Model. Now, how do we know that? What is the format as to how we're going to load the data? We go to the Action button on this integration system. Let's go to Template Model. And first, let's have a look at View. Looking at the process that we did, that we used to hire the employee, this is the template model for it. Hire employee is the top level, then proposed compensation, hire, and all these other options or business processes can be used alongside your hire, such as update information, ID information, government IDs, passport and visa license, organization assignment, pay. Group request, one-time payment, transfer data to third-party payroll, and all these options are available to you when you set up your hire process. These are all subroutines of the process hire. They can choose if you need to use them, well and good. If not, you can simply ignore them and they will not be run. The order of the processes. This is how it's going to run. The hire employee is the first sheet. And then you have almost 37 sheets that you could use potentially to load the data if you're going to use all these areas. Just to give you an understanding as to how the EIB template works, let's go ahead and generate our model or template. Generate spreadsheet template. Now, if you're very well conversant with XML, you can use XML as your type, or you can use SXS, which you can use in Microsoft Excel. Of course, if you use XML, you can also import or open this in Microsoft Excel as well. Let's try the XML option. Now it's generating a template for us to be able, for us to use. Now you can see the process got completed. These are the tasks or child processes that ran. And if you look at the output, you would see the hire employee XML file and download it. Here is the hire employee XML format. If I open the XML file here, I should be able to structure it better and see. Here is a format of the XML file that is downloaded from Workday to load your data. And again, for people who are not familiar with XML, this looks a lot French. Let's go ahead and close this. And let's open this in Excel. This is your hire employee EID interface. You have all those, your 30 sections that we saw on the template model. And here you can see how we can fill up the data. Let's say spreadsheet key number 1. We don't have an applicant ID. We don't have a former ID, we don't have this, but we do have a formatted name. Let's say Donald Duck. And here you can see on the top, what is it expecting in terms of format. A T2 descriptor cell notation, first name Donald, let's say last name Duck. Then all these sections, maybe I can skip. This is all named data in different formats. And then personal information for country. I don't think we need that. Or if you do, let's say one country is going to be US. Raw ID is one, say married. Country region is going to be, say, US. Marshal status, let's say 2023. Is there any religion disability? I want to add all this information. Any worker documents. Political affiliation, relative names. Prefix data for relative names. Local name. Suffix data. Name details data. Country personal information, then military data. National ID data. Government ID data and on. You have a lot of sections that you can use. If you need to fill the relevant data into these sections. And every section that you use, you have to put it in a specific format like the row ID and on. Let me try to grab one which is already used. Here we can see that on these positions, this was a hire date. The supervisory organization ID. The hire reason, the employee type, the job profile, the location ID, default hours, schedule hours. Applicant ID means that these were pre-hires. All their applicant data was already there. And we can verify this by going back into the tenant. And let's search for the applicant ID. We started on. This was a pre-hire. All the information was already updated before loading this EAB. If I go to the next section, propose compensation for hire. Again, the same spreadsheet key that was being used here. This is going to be unique for each record. And this has to be replicated. The spreadsheet key needs to be common in all these sections of the EIB. If spreadsheet key, then composition package, grade profiles. Then the salary plan, the amounts, the currency and the frequency. And if there are any bonus or commission plans, they would be added here. Any ID information. Let's see what was used. Hire employee was used, proposed compensation was used, then edit organization was used. Otherwise, the rest of them was skipped. Let's see where is edit organization. Here you can see the same spreadsheet key as from the first one. The company ID, the cost center ID, the region ID was assigned. Going back to overview, then change. Personal information was used. Let's go have a look at that. There we go. Same spreadsheet key as the first one. Then date of birth was added, gender was added. Depending on what you are trying to do, you can use sections of the EIB to load the data in bulk. These are, say, 5 employees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 employees data. You can have thousands and thousands of rows for employees data that you would like to load. This is one way of loading the EIB or loading the data into Workday. When we talk about the 3 options, Cloud Connect custom integration tools to create integration systems, such as EIB docs in the Workday Studio. This is something that we saw that was EIB. And the EIB uses the public web services to load the data into Workday. If I go back to the tenant, see, I go back to the integration that we created. Let's cancel this. Let's search for our integration. Say CF, hire inbound, and let me call it. I'm looking for integration system. Here's the integration system that we created. Then if I go to related actions, to template model and generate spreadsheet template. That's one way of doing it. The other way I did it was I used one of the existing EIB that was already created and which ran in the past. And I grabbed that EIB data with data from there, where I had already preferred information for one of the earlier hires that was executed on the tenant. And any action that you can most probably do on a given worker. Like I'm logged in as Logan McNeil currently, who is the HR administrator on this particular tenant. And I'm proxied in as Logan McNeil, where you can see on behalf of. In order to proxy, I can say when I log into my tenant, when you will be able to log into your tenant from Cloud Foundation, you can say start proxy, because you will be logged in as any random person with limited access. Like I'm authenticated as Karen Lee, but I want to proxy in as Logan McNeil. I'm sorry, I'm already proxied in as Logan McNeil. It's not letting me proxy again. But I can just act as Logan McNeil and then it'll say on the stuff like this, on behalf of Logan McNeil. Right here. Now because I'm in a testing environment, I have access or I'm proxied in as Logan McNeil. I cannot proxy in a production environment. Please keep that in mind. What I was saying is that, for example, I go to say Julie Boss is a manager in IT operations. And Logan, being a HR administrator and systems administrator and security administrator, she has access to everything in one day. All the privilege access. And any action that Logan can perform on any of the employee. Like benefits, business assets, processes expenses, organization change, or remove all the sign matrix organization payments, payroll interface. Personal data like maintain names, edit other IDs, photos, government IDs, contact information, background check. any of the actions in any of the objects that Logan can perform here. She should be able to get a web services EIB against it or create an EIB using that particular web service. Supervise the organization is a different object. My options here in the related actions will be different than what I was getting here on this, because this is a related action to the object that I'm working with. Edit. Supervise the organization name code hierarchy. Our key structure organization. Any changes that I can do here on a given object menu, I would typically be able to create any idea and do that in bulk. Same goes with position. Same goes with job profiles. Any object that I'm working with, and if I'm able to amend or make changes, I should be able to do that in bulk as well via the EIB. Or I can do it one by one. If I say 5 changes and I need to make a 10 different users, I would rather go and do it manually. But if I need to do more than that, then I would rather prefer build the EIB, build the template, load the data, validate it, test it, and then load it into one thing. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.